Thank you very much for joining me. How you been? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Back. Steve Renazizi. I'm the guy. I'm the guy. Fucking lit. I'm the guy. Steve Renazizi. Lit. I'm the guy. I'm the guy. Fucking lit. I'm the guy. Steve Renazizi. What's the odds? What's the odds? What's the odds? What's
Ladies and gentlemen, it's What's the Odds with Steve Renazizi, hitting you with the hard facts about the NFL weekend. Did I have some right? Yes. Did I have some wrong? Yes. But the ones I had right were the ones that meant the most to me, and I'm very fucking excited about it. Woo! First of all,
No accountability, Steve.
No. People, everyone that knows me, that went with me last weekend, they knew what they had to do. They did one of two things, okay? They did either the 4-game parlay that I told them to do.
And lost.
The underdog rippers, dude. $20, that's just 2,140 bucks, right? So here we go. First game, Cowboys-Packers. Where am I? Oh, I don't know. I'm in a Broadway show with my wife. Why? Because I love her, okay? We're seeing a matinee of a Broadway show during the NFL playoff weekend because I knew what was going to happen, okay? The Cowboys were going to shit the bed. They always were going to shit the bed. Unless I look at a Cowboys team and I see Smith in the backfield and I see Aikman under center, I think that they're going to fucking fold, bro. This team is a paper tiger. And so I knew the game was going to be close. I believe I said it last weekend. If the game is close, all the pressure will be on Dallas. And by the way, it wasn't even close.
No.
The pressure was on them from the 8th snap of the game. And so I got out of the show during halftime when it was 27-7, and I knew. I'm like, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. I knew it, right? So as soon as that game went final, I went to my DraftKings account. I go, what are you going to hit me with? What are you going to hit me with? What offer are you going to give me? I looked down, $150. I was like, $150? You can take it. Bam! I took that shit.
Okay, thank God.
Bam! $20 made me $150.
I mean, that doesn't help any of our listeners that didn't know because you didn't publicly post about taking the 150 and jumping off ship. But good for you, Steve. You're a little richer, and our listeners are poorer for it.
And then what I did was I took that $40 or whatever I had made, like $80, whatever. No, $130, and I put it on the other half that I didn't want to happen. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers to beat the fucking Philadelphia Eagles. Bam! Hit that motherfucker too. Hit it, bro. So yeah, I didn't win the 2,100, but I did end up winning. The teams that I wanted to actually win won and or came close. I mean, I love Detroit, and I like the Rams too. So, I'm happy Detroit's in it, but that was a great game. And I'm happy the Bills showed up. So overall, I had a fucking sick ass weekend, made some decent coin. And now I'm back into fantasy golf this week. So I have, I'm splitting fucking focus this week. Anyway, you have to be happy. Not as happy as I am, but you have to be pretty fucking happy because overall, I think that game, it was competitive. It was, but I feel like the Steelers hung around because of the conditions and they had a decent couple stops when they needed to. But for the most part, after Josh Allen ran for that 52-yard touchdown, the writing was on the wall. One team was going to beat the other one up. So overall, I think you guys need to be excited about what happened, what the game was. What were you surprised? Tell me about it. And also, I think I sort of got fucked a little bit when they actually moved the game because the weather, I mean, they couldn't play it. Let's be honest. They couldn't play it the day before. They could barely play it when they actually played it. But I think moving the game totally helped the Bills, a little bit.
A
And
lot of it, yeah, absolutely helped.
yeah. Overall, give me your feelings on it?
We won. That's all you want to do at this time of the year. So you feel
Okay.
good about that, but we lost a lot of guys.
Yeah.
The defense is even more decimated than it was before, and it was pretty bad before. So I don't feel great about this week. I thought Josh has elevated his game to a point where anybody who's still saying, "Oh, he turns the ball over too much," just doesn't understand football. Because he's playing better football than any individual player right now. I think he's elevating
Well,
everybody, and he's not getting any help either. Stephon Diggs is not getting separation. He's not doing much. He didn't have Gabe Davis as number 2. So who is he throwing the ball to? Who is running the ball effectively? It's pretty much 99% Josh at this point. The offensive line is fine, but it's not great. So this team's going to go as far as Josh can take them. They've been playing, every game is a playoff game, sudden death for 7 weeks now, and that's got to be taking a toll at some point. It was kind of disturbing that they had the Steelers 21-0, and he thought, okay, they're going to drive down the field, go up 4 scores, and end the game in the first half, and they didn't. They let the Steelers kind of climb back in a little bit. So they're still not able to pull away, and they've already ruled out 3. We're missing Taylor Rapp,
Taron Johnson,
Gabe Davis, and then there was someone else. Let's see, and Balin Spector. So we're
is
out.
Gabe Davis still in concussion protocol? Was that happen? What happened to Gabe Davis?
Was it a leg injury?
I think it's a leg injury. Yeah.
Oh, leg injury. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was a concussion.
No. So, but we still, have the practice report to come out later today. So we might not have a few other guys, Rasul Douglas and a few other guys. It seems like Rasul is going to play, but at this point, like, if Josh can play a flawless game, the Chiefs defense has been playing better. He would have to be flawless to beat them. I think if the Bills win, they win a very close game. Otherwise, I wouldn't be shocked if the Chiefs come out and win by a couple of scores. I think those are the 2 ways that this week goes. But last week, obviously I'm happy that they won. I want them to keep winning, and I'm never going to complain about them winning. But I think, this team can only go so far. And as they keep getting more and more and more injured, they're just at a huge disadvantage, and no one in the middle of the field to cover Travis Kelce on defense this week. Like, we signed AJ Klein off the street. He played great, but how great is he going to be week to week? And it's just a lot of backups, and it's a lot to ask of Josh to keep basically putting the team on his back and carry them.
Man, I gotta be honest. That sounds like an obituary.
Yeah, it was
like
a very up and down season, and this is not going to be a nice, fun week. It's going to be another very stressful game.
But you're home.
We're home. Yeah, that's the
You could
caveat.
be going to fucking Kansas City again.
The only game that Mahomes has played in Buffalo in his career was during COVID, and there were no fans in the stands. So I think this is a week where home field advantage needs to mean something, and Bills Mafia needs to be very, very loud and very disruptive to give us a
Speaking
chance.
of that, should they be throwing snowballs at receivers trying to make catches in the end zone?
First of all,
Here we go.
First of all, do you
Go
want
ahead.
snow? I'd rather see them throwing snowballs than dildos, Steve. Second of all, no snowball came close, and if you're going to tell me that affected any of the plays of the games in any way, you're out of your mind.
The one where everyone commented, including Tony Romo, came pretty close. It came before the catch was not made.
He wasn't going to make the catch. The snowball did not affect it. He didn't see the snowball. If it had gotten so bad, they would have gotten a warning like they did last year against Miami. They did not get a warning. It was pretty
close, dude.
No, that's camera angles. It was fine.
All right, David Copperfield.
Home field advantage. We can throw snowballs if you're going to have us sit out in 120-degree heat in Miami.
So you want so objects thrown onto the field as long as they melt away, that's perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine.
Okay.
The officiating crew could have called a warning against the fans to stop throwing snowballs. And also, I'm online, I'm reading accounts and seeing people commenting on the snowballs, and there are plenty of Bills fans saying that Steeler fans were also throwing snowballs. So you can't point the finger and just say it was just them. There are eyewitness accounts of multiple fans from multiple teams throwing snowballs.
Okay, well, let's move on from the snow. I mean, Jesus, Brendan.
Did you think it was a fake slide, or was it just Josh making a juke move? Because that's been a minor debate, and I think it's silly because he's clearly just cutting.
It looks like he slid a little bit, so I don't know. Not like he kind of like lost his footing a little bit.
He made a juke move.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't tackle the fucking guy. Tackle him.
Yeah.
Please. Somebody tackle this fucking guy.
Well, he can't be tackled.
Very tough to do it.
Yeah. So again,
I don't remember many quarterbacks running through for a 52-yard touchdown without everyone fucking up on the other side.
Well, he did something last week that no one had ever done in a playoff game. He was the first player to get like 70 yards rushing and a touchdown and then throw for 3 touchdowns or something.
Makes sense.
He keeps breaking like these obscure records, and he's the only quarterback that's averaging in the playoffs 250 yards passing and 50 yards rushing. So he's doing pretty incredible stuff.
We go from one unbelievable quarterback performance to one really poor one. What is to be done in Dallas? Are you not? I mean, I brought it up. I think I said last week, if they get blown out, there's going to be talk of Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Now, apparently the word on the street was they never even knocked on Bill Belichick's door, or maybe Bill Belichick made it clear that he didn't want his door knocked on. But either way, if I'm a Cowboys fan, and I'm certainly fucking not, I don't understand how everyone's supposed to be like, okay, well, here we go. Status quo is good enough. You got a quarterback that, in the regular season, has unbelievable numbers, probably going to finish in the top 2 or 3 in the MVP race this year. But 3 of his 4 playoff appearances have been fucking diabolically bad. You take away the last year against Tampa, and it's
Are you
bad.
saying, sorry to cut you, but you're saying this past week he was diabolically bad?
I mean,
because I know he's going to get the blame because he's the face of the franchise. He's the quarterback, but his stats aren't bad. The defense was horrendous. And Dan Quinn, it seemed like he was more concerned about getting a head coaching job, because if you watch that
I'll get to
game,
Dan Quinn in a second. I don't know how Dan Quinn can show his face at 3 interviews this week.
Yeah.
After putting up that, I buried my fucking head in the sand after what happened there.
Well, I rewatched the game, and you watch it, and his defense, he's either putting a dime or a nickel out every play. He's got all of his little guys out there, and they're just running the ball down the throat. He made no adjustments.
Brandon, my point about Dak before we get to anyone else is
403 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Most of it was in garbage time when it didn't matter. Most of it was when the game was already decided. None of it was in the first quarter when they were down 27-0, and they go, "We got to stop this. We got to put a." And either it was the play call,
defense too.
He missed a really long one down the sideline to, I think it was Braden Cook. I mean, there were a couple throws that were not great. He didn't run as well as he normally does. He didn't, so it wasn't a thing where like it had. Who are you going to blame, Brendan? All on Mike McCarthy?
I think everyone has to be a little bit accountable. You can't just say Dak Prescott. It's definitely on Dan Quinn and that defense that just didn't show up. Mike McCarthy and probably his vanilla play calling. At what point do you just start forcing the ball to CeeDee Lamb? And I think a fundamental problem this year was you let Ezekiel Elliott go maybe a year too early because he showed out in New England, and Tony Pollard clearly is not a lead back. So you basically cut off your nuts and had no running game for the entire season and into the playoffs, where you need to have a running game and balance the offense. And it was just a mixture of a lot of things. They're still a very talented team, but I think as a Giants fan, you should be thrilled that they're going to retain McCarthy and everything's staying the same. And the Eagles are probably going to
That's my
retain
point.
Sirianni,
Yeah,
and you're going to crawl back into the thick of this.
But I shouldn't have. I mean, I like what I said should have come true. Like they should have kicked the tires on Bill Belichick. You have
Absolutely,
to. I mean,
but seems like he's going to Atlanta now.
you're only as loyal as your options. So, you know what I'm saying? Like you got like if these guys weren't out there, then maybe you go, all right, let's reassess. But if they seem to do that without looking at the really good options that were out there.
There are, I mean, compared to last offseason, you had Bill Belichick, who's the greatest coach of all time. You have Mike Vrabel, who is clearly a winner and a great leader. You have Jim Harbaugh that wants to jump back in. There's a couple of other coordinators that seem ready to make a jump. Even Brian Flores maybe deserves a shot at head coaching again. There are good options, but they want to stick with what they got. And maybe that's just Jerry Jones is old and he doesn't want to go through the interview process because it is a process.
Yeah, I mean, it is a process. Unless, I mean, the only thing I can think is that he did go maybe on the down low, talk to Bill Belichick's people, Bill himself, and go, "Are you interested? Is this something you would want to do?" Because it wouldn't be a process.
I don't want to do that.
It wouldn't be a process then. It would be
like
Jerry going, "Bill, what do you want to do? How do we get this done?" And it would be over, and that would be it.
No, thank you. Not.
So that must have happened. And why does that happen? Because maybe people don't want to fucking deal with Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. I mean, is Dak? I mean, I look at every angle now. Like, is Dak Prescott? You have to look at him like maybe this might not be our guy.
I don't know yet because he just had the best year of his career.
Well,
and
yes,
again, it isn't just on him in this. You can't look at that game and go, that was just Dak Prescott. Now, last year, when he made that egregious error against the 49ers, you can go, he fucked up on that play and ran the clock out and lost the game that they probably should have won. That was on Dak. You can't look at this game and go, Dak Prescott is not the guy. He clearly is not a good quarterback in this league because he's definitely a top 10 quarterback.
Let me ask you a question. If Josh Allen were 1-3 in the playoffs, right? Or 1-4 in the playoffs, with 3 losses coming in the first round, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the first one you would give up, the one in Houston that we watched at your house, that one you go, okay, that's a rookie quarterback or a second-year quarterback, right? One more, but there was a progression that was made towards. They haven't even made it to the NFC Championship game.
Maybe that's coaching. I would say if that was Buffalo, I would say McDermott can't get us past the big game. And if the Bills lose this week to Kansas City at home, then you really got to look at McDermott and go, is this the guy that can get us over? Because watching Dak and watching Josh.
How could you say that now? Getting his team together, winning basically 7 playoff games in a row, with a team that you just basically declared dead and decimated on defense.
I did not declare them dead. Well, they are dead on defense. They're going to have to outscore Kansas City. It's going to have to be a shootout, and it's going to be on Josh. But we changed our offensive coordinator, and then they started to go on this run. But I still question if McDermott is the guy that can win big games because he hasn't done it yet. So I would start with, it has to start at the top with coaching. Dak has all of the skill set to be a good quarterback, and coaches are supposed to come in and make them better and help them elevate the players around them. And I haven't seen that much with McCarthy.
So to my initial question then, do you think he didn't, he did ask and he was, politely declined, or B, he never even asked?
I don't think he asked. I think Jerry Jones he's just set in his way and he doesn't want to have to pay out another contract to have a coach leave early. And he's just going to let one more year play out and see what happens. I think he's older and he's a little lazier, and it's just a situation where it's like, it is what it is. And next year we'll make a change when we don't have to pay for it.
Yep. And Bill Belichick's in his, building a second-year team that made it to the playoffs last year in Atlanta. Mike Vrabel's turned around, maybe, Washington. Jim Harbaugh's got the fucking, the Chargers in the playoffs again. But wait till next year, because
It is.
maybe
It is
maybe
great.
someone else will be available. Maybe Sean McDermott might be available. Give me a
Hopefully.
break, dude. Makes no sense.
I know it makes no sense, but Jerry Jones is very set in his ways, and he's made a lot of mistakes. That's why they have not.
Again,
They haven't been even sniffing a Super Bowl in 30 years.
I'm a Giants fan, so I'm psyched about all this. I'm excited. I'm psyched about status quo across the fucking board. What are you gonna say, Lucas?
I mean, I can't believe. Do you know how long Jason Garrett coached the Cowboys for?
How many seasons?
Yeah.
I think 12.
Oh, you took the over. It's damn near 10, 9.5. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
Like
no, I
he's
know.
stuck with Jason Garrett for almost a
Then,
decade.
Jerry Jones has a history then of just sticking with a coach too long. And again, I don't think Dak's the problem, because if you get a replacement for Dak, who are you going to get? Unless they aggressively go after Justin Fields, there's really no quarterback out there that's going to be able to come in and replicate or do better than what Dak did. You're not going to be able to draft a quarterback at the position that you're drafting at, and you're not going to find anybody in free agency. Like, you're going to go get Gardner Minshew. So I think,
dude, I think Bill Belichick's going to get Kirk Cousins down there in Atlanta, and they're going to go fucking buck wild.
I hope so. That'd be great.
Kirk Cousins is Tom Brady Jr. without the ultimate talent. But
Atlanta is like the most exciting fantasy team as far as the players that they have, and they just all were underutilized because of coaching.
You get Kirk Cousins down there. Now, granted, Kirk. I mean, but what he did in Washington, what he did in Minnesota, obviously he's coming off of a fucking bad injury. But if anyone's, and you saw how that guy's work ethic is, unless it's Tuesday where he walks around with Jesus and his wife, then he's gonna be grinding to get back to health.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's it. If I'm Bill Belichick and I'm talking to Atlanta, like, pick me a quarterback, I want that guy. Perfect. Speaking of coordinators, did you see that Cliff Kingsbury is going to take probably the Chicago job?
Yeah, so they're really showing their hand that they want Caleb Williams, which I think is a mistake. You keep Justin Fields and you go get Marvin Harrison Jr., and that offense is just disgusting. Like, they're competing with the Lions for the division if they do that, but instead they're going to get Caleb Williams. There's a good chance Caleb Williams is a bust, and they set back the franchise. So I would keep Fields. I'd franchise tag Fields. You still get another year of keeping him cheap. You get Marvin Harrison Jr., and that offense is really, really competitive.
A lot of people want that to happen, but what if you trade Justin Fields for, a second round pick and a third round pick to Pittsburgh?
You got to get a first round pick for him at least. Yeah. He is a top 10 quarterback. If he stays healthy, like if he's healthy the entire season, he's a top 10.
I mean, what do you work for Chicago? If I work for Pittsburgh, I'm going to be like, you guys, well, what are you getting rid of him for then? What are we talking about then?
Because we got the first overall pick and we decided we want Caleb Williams. But Justin Fields,
you want to reset the clock and
look at Justin Fields, though. You can't look at him and go, he's not worth at least a first. When you look at the entirety of the league and all the quarterbacks that are available out there, like Justin Fields is far and away the best piece. You're not going to find any.
Let's say you move. Okay, so let's say
he's only 25, right? He's still young.
There might be a world because they have the ninth pick too.
Mm-hmm.
If they trade Justin Fields and they can get someone, right? They can get someone to give them a first round pick, right? What if they took their 2 first round picks that they have, the 9 and whatever the other one is, right? To move up to the 3rd pick to get Marvin Harrison Jr. So you get Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr.
I still wouldn't do that because I know what Justin Fields is. I know who he is. I don't know what Caleb Williams is. And Caleb Williams, he didn't win that many games in college. Like, he had moments where he looked very human and he looked bad. So I don't think he's even going to be the best quarterback coming out of that draft class.
Really?
I think he could be a bust. He's a very high probability of just disappointing everybody. We're going to overhype him and expect so much, and then he's just not going to deliver. And I like Justin Fields. I would want Justin Fields. If I was the GM, I would keep Justin Fields.
I don't know. I mean,
you saw what he could do with DJ Moore. You go and you get him Marvin Harrison Jr., who's probably going to be the best receiver in the NFL in a few years. and you have those two guys on either side, and then maybe in the third round you get a running back. You have Cole Kmet, who's a solid tight end.
Well, let's see. Let's say they did keep Justin Fields, right? Then they would trade the first pick, right, to a team that wants a quarterback.
Well,
Because I mean,
they could only trade back a couple places because Arizona would take Marvin Harrison at 4.
okay. Well, then
So
you go shop to either the
whoever's
who's got
picking
2 and
third,
3.
if they want Caleb Williams at 3, then you would trade with them. But I would keep Justin Fields. I think how good the Bears defense played in the second half of the season and how good the offense can be when everybody's out there, and then you add another piece that's like the elite piece, I think it'd be a huge mistake. And yeah, you're resetting the clock at quarterback, but you're also resetting the entirety of the team that is maybe just this one offensive piece away from being a playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a good position, but it is a big decision to make right now.
Yeah.
But they're showing their hand because if they actually do Kingsbury,
yeah,
that's it. But you know what? If they have made that decision, then this might be the right way to go, dude. It's like, what better way than to bring in the guy's coach that he just worked with for a year to make someone comfortable? Kingsbury can put an offense together, albeit, it's not the, it doesn't always work great when the pieces aren't correct, but he can do it. So, and I think that's the right role for him. But another, I don't think they're hiring Kingsbury to go work with Justin Field. That's my point.
Well, they haven't hired him yet, so we'll see.
But they also haven't come out and said, "Hey, Justin Fields our quarterback. Well, we're going to work on an extension."
I know, but maybe they're doing that to fish for offers for Justin and see what they can get.
What else?
He did the same thing with the Cardinals when he came in too. Remember, Josh Rosen was like a year in, first round pick.
Yeah, and he went and got Kyler Murray. He's like, "This is my guy." I just think
it's a mistake. If Justin Fields was 30 years old, then yeah, if you can get the value for him, trade and restart. But the fact that he's only 25, right?
He's gonna be 25 like next month.
Yeah, so he's
March.
not even 25 yet, and we haven't even seen what he's capable of doing. I think you're moving on from someone who could be an elite quarterback way too soon, and you're not getting enough back, and you're taking a huge risk in is this next guy going to be, a Patrick Mahomes, or is he going to be Trevor Lawrence? Because that's what Caleb Williams is. He's either going to be Patrick Mahomes or he's going to be Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, man, that's, you wouldn't mind either one. Obviously, they're both talented quarterbacks.
No.
Patrick.
So maybe I should be more clear. Trevor Lawrence, we're a few years in now. He has regressed, and you can't blame it on coaching this year. He was worse this year. And if you put his stats up side by side with the Daniel Jones, he's Daniel Jones. They're almost identical stats. So Trevor Lawrence is a bust unless next year, give him one more year, but he's a bust if they don't go to the playoffs and they're not very competitive because he was awful this year. And no one wants to throw any blame at him, but he was 100% why the Jags had their collapse and why they didn't make the playoffs and why people are asking a lot of questions. It's all on him.
I also think he, didn't miss a game to the end of the season in his entire career. And went out there a lot of times when he probably should have gone out there. So not making excuses, but he played injured quite often. So I think that might be, a reason. You look at Baker Mayfield. Remember we said this week, it's like if he looks healthy, and he looked healthy, he looked ready to go. I didn't see any signs, especially in the beginning, of him being too injured at all. Yeah. He got banged around a little bit, and then he would limp a little bit. But in the beginning of the game, he looked fucking ready to go.
Well, did you see him sniffing the salts coming out of the tunnel?
Yeah, good. I don't care. Like a fucking 80s
just
wrestler.
Screaming at people.
I love it. That was another recipe of this is what's going to happen. We put pressure on them right away. They go down 13 points. Now you give an NFL playoff team a 13-point lead. They should be able to just pretty much hold on to it at some point, So he looked ready to go. He drove the ball down. He got big third down conversions and stuff. So it looked, and he had a lot of guys drop balls too. Mike Evans dropped a couple balls that were like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, he's done that all year. Like, he cost me some money a couple of weeks in DFS. He was just really bad, like wide open in the
Yeah.
end zone.
He had that
So,
one where Baker hit him down, right for it was a touchdown. He just dropped it.
mhm.
So, there were a couple big drops, but yeah, Baker looked fucking ready to go. He looked ready to go. So when they're healthy, these guys, they are talented. I do still believe in Trevor Lawrence. That's being my point. But
I don't.
overall, I mean, maybe you're saying, there is no guarantee. I don't believe as far as a guarantee, I don't
Yeah.
see Caleb Williams being a guarantee. This guy's going to be the next Patrick Mahomes. I don't see that.
But I guarantee you, Justin Fields will lead a team to the playoffs and be able to make a deep run consistently, because we already know how talented he is at this level and he can take over games.
Yeah, in the right
So,
coaching system,
yeah,
he could be really, really good.
I wouldn't move on from him if I was Chicago, especially since you still can get really great pieces in the draft. You don't need to trade for more first round picks when you already have great first round picks.
You imagine Justin Fields in Pittsburgh?
If Justin Fields goes to Pittsburgh, there is no way Pittsburgh loses to Buffalo last week, considering all of Buffalo's injuries. Pittsburgh
Yeah.
is a completely different team, even without TJ Watt. They're a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hope that doesn't happen.
Be crazy. They'd have their little Lamar themselves. All right, what else? What else is going on? So yeah, now the coaching carousel moves around. No one's landed yet except for Jared Mayo in New England. I know Harbaugh's gone on a couple interviews.
He's
What
got to go to
else?
the Chargers, right? They want
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And then the Falcons, they're
Yeah.
doing a second interview with Belichick. So it seems like Belichick's, why would he interview twice? He interviewed with Arthur Smith alone, and
know.
now he's interviewing with all the top brass. So unless he was taking that job, why would he interview twice? He's Bill Belichick, so he's going to be a Falcon.
I mean, the fact that we like, I thought he would be offer only.
Yeah.
He's like James Gandolfini coming off The Sopranos, and you're making him go on an audition. It's like, it's pretty fucking crazy. I did see that one meme. It's like,
probably Arthur Smith, hey, you have the job, but let me interview and do the due process so we don't get in trouble. I got to interview all these other guys, and then I'll bring you in to meet everybody at the top, and then we'll sign the papers. That's probably what's going down.
You get him over there in Atlanta with Josh McDaniels, being the offensive coordinator, and Kirk Cousins as the quarterback. Let's go fuck around.
Yeah, that's a bad division, so that's easily your division to take.
Yep. Because I don't see the Panthers taking a step forward anytime soon. They looked, even worse going the other way. The Saints are the Saints.
Think about what they've done as far as their moves the last couple of years. Getting rid of McCaffrey for almost nothing. They got, what, a third-round pick? For a first-team All-Pro and arguably an MVP candidate. So they got a third-round pick for that, lose him, and then they trade away DJ Moore and 2 first-round picks and what, a second or a third to get Bryce Young, who got to give him one more year to see, but I think we've seen it and it's not there. Like, Jesus, man, they're in trouble.
It's especially bad when the next pick looks like a star too.
Mm-hmm.
If Stroud sucked, it wouldn't look nearly as bad. But
I know, but I do agree. If you take Stroud and you put him in Carolina, it ain't the same. He's not doing what he does right now.
No.
I'm not saying it's a lateral move, and if you take Bryce Young and you put him in fucking Houston, I'm not saying it's the same situation. But
Stroud looked more the part. Stroud looked more comfortable. Stroud was making throws. Bryce Young was literally jumping while throwing the ball so he could see over the line. It didn't look good for Bryce Young.
Sometimes those physical attributes. You know what, though? It could be a thing where he might have to learn how to play in the NFL, and he's smart enough he can do it. Maybe he could figure out like a Drew Brees kind of route where, he gets the ball out quicker or something like that. I mean,
yeah, he's going to have to go Tua. He's going to have to go Tua to be successful.
Speaking of Tua, another disaster. They were Pittsburgh was in their game more than Miami was in the Kansas City game.
Miami didn't get off the bus. They were too cold and they didn't want to be there.
No. And, coming off the season they had, this has got to be a disappointment. This has got to be this is a lateral move to what they had last year. Yeah, their offense was better, and that's great. And their defense did get a lot of tough injuries towards the end, but they only scored 7 points. Right?
Yeah, that number one scoring offense really didn't do anything for the last 5 weeks.
So if they lost, 42-35, then you have an argument to be like, we took a step forward and we had, but you could have had Bradley Chubb, everybody else out there, fucking the other guy that got hurt,
Van Ginkel,
Phillips, everybody
Xavier
else,
Howard,
have them all out there. You still only scored 7, but you're not going to only hold Kansas City to 3.
Yeah.
Still going to lose. So another, you got to look at yes, are these offenses built for everything? Are they built to do everything? Or can they just do one thing really well or a couple things really well?
Mm-hmm.
But if you say, hey man, we're going to do this. We're going to make the fucking weather unbearably cold. We're going to make it snowy. We're going to put you on the road. Okay. And we're going to put a little pressure on your defense by scoring first. Okay. Now, do you want to go throw best show on turf, or do you want to start to fucking run? We got to be able to do other things. We got to be able to do everything whenever, impose our will upon everyone, but also, understand the situation you're put in.
Yeah. Well, they're a soft team. And they are built soft but fast. And when speed doesn't work, they have nothing to fall back on. They went and traded for Chase Claypool, who's the only guy with size in that entire receiving core, and they just didn't use him the whole year. So when push came to shove, they just get shoved over because they're all tiny.
Yeah.
And when the Chiefs can figure out how to bracket you and take away your speed, what do you have left? And Tua, he's going to get a deal. They're not going to get rid of him because, again, who are they going to go get unless they aggressively go after a Justin Fields, which they probably should. I think anybody that's looking at their quarterback with any kind of question mark should go after Justin Fields. At the very least, Kirk Cousins. I'm seeing Derrick Henry rumors now. Maybe they'll go after him to get some size. I don't know. You're probably a year too late on him because he's had moments where he's looked good, but he's definitely slower and he's getting tackled a lot easier. But I mean, there were 3 games down the stretch there where I saw Tua take off on a 4th down and he slid before the sticks. He's not even trying to get the first down because he's just too small. He's not that guy.
And he's also taking a big fucking beating, dude.
Yeah, he is.
You're basically in concussion protocol the entire season last year.
The point is,
you may not want to fucking go.
The whole team is tiny, and they all were getting hurt down the stretch because they just were taking hit after hit after hit. Tyreek was in and out. Waddle was in and out. They're small guys. Achane was in and out. He's a small guy. Mostert is just always hurt. So it's actually good to see him playing. At least he was there for the Chiefs against the Chiefs. But that whole team is tiny. They need some size, and they need to be able to
including
hit
the coach.
Back. Yeah.
Coach is tiny too.
And maybe based on watching Hard Knocks, if they were more focused on winning games instead of celebrating touchdowns in the end zone, they could have moved on.
Though.
I know they love that, but I mean, I loved it too. Keep doing that. As a Bills fan, keep Mike McDaniel, sign Tua to a 4-year, $180 million, give him $120 guaranteed, and don't change a thing. Because
I saw the Giants.
You're going to get.
The Giants interviewed Campa something, their linebackers coach, the guy from the real Italian guy. The Giants interviewed him for defensive coordinator position. So interesting. But yeah, after that showing, I'm like, no one on the defensive side should be hired from Miami. But Dan Quinn's off taking fucking, hold on. Let me see if I can fit you into my schedule
Well,
after that.
Dan Quinn wants head coaching jobs, not DC jobs.
Yeah, well, he can't even DC right now.
I know.
He started the season with
Again,
historic.
that would be such a red flag. The guy made no adjustments, didn't shift in some
nothing.
big guys to stop the run, because the run was the only thing that was gashing them. It's not like
Dude, look at Todd
at the
Bowles.
start of the game they're getting.
Todd Bowles moved defensive linemen to linebacker positions and linebackers in to fuck up the tush push.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, look, I'll whatever. I'm not just gonna go, hey, all right, we'll do our normal defense and here we go. It's like, let me try something different. Even what's the worst that can happen? They go 3 yards.
Yeah.
Okay, it's still a touchdown. Give it a fucking whirl, dude. Give something a shot. But yeah, I think Dan Quinn was like, Micah, go get him, and that was it. And
and Micah had the worst game of his career.
He's got to look at himself too. It's like, fuck, that can't happen ever again.
No,
where you don't show up in the playoffs at home, dude, against a team that
you should have beaten.
Is basically half the players on that team belong in college. They're so young.
Yeah, so then moving forward, do they have a chance against the 49ers?
I say why not? Now here's the problem. The 49ers have a much better offense.
Yeah.
Than the Cowboys showed up with. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I think it's going to be a thing where you're not going to go up 27 or even 14-0 on San Francisco. They're going to score and you better score, and they're going to score and you better score. So if they have to keep up with them, he might be able to, but that's putting a lot of pressure on him, and I think that's when he'll make a mistake. Jordan Love will make him, maybe throw a pick or two, try to force something that isn't there, just to kind of keep up, rather than you don't have to force it when you're up 27-0.
Well, what's interesting, that Jordan Love made a major adjustment from the Thanksgiving game on. He is now throwing off his back foot, and he's doing that.
Insane, dude.
He's doing that because he was overthrowing everybody at the start of the year. And by doing so, you're basically now lobbing the ball up. It's got a lot of hang time. The velocity is off, and San Francisco's secondary is its weakness, but you're giving them an opportunity to go and make plays. And you're not going to have Luke Musgrave 40 yards wide open down the field against San Francisco.
No.
So I think this is where it ends for Green Bay. I'm sure they're thrilled that they made it this far in a rebuild year. They weren't supposed to be where they are, and maybe they found their franchise quarterback, and they've got.
Dude, he looked great. He looked like
he did look very good.
Rodgers, bro.
But he's throwing off his back foot, and that's going to bite him in the ass. Just like Joe Flacco was flying too close to the sun with some of the throws he was making. It bit him in the ass this last week against Houston, and I think that's what's going to happen to Jordan Love this week. And I don't think they stand a chance. San Francisco's just too good of a team. They're very complete, and everybody's well rested and healthy.
Well, that being said, I also have another blockbuster little situation going on. Oh yes, very much so, my friend. Very much. Let me tell you how I see it this weekend.
Okay.
I got a great little 4-game parlay happening. You ready for this?
Go ahead.
I've got the Baltimore Ravens to cover that 9.5 points. No problemo.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. That's not an underdog.
I got the Packers to cover that 9.5 point spread.
That's where it gets a little shady.
I got the Lions to cover that 6.5 point spread.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I got the Buffalo Bills to cover that 2.5 point spread. They're going to kick a field goal to win the fucking game.
So that's what I said. I said they're either going to win a very close game or the Chiefs are going to beat them by 2 scores. So I'm hoping that it's them winning a very close game. And that's because Josh Allen played absolutely flawless, mistake-free football. Or the mistakes he made. That's the other thing about the interceptions. Go back and watch all the interceptions. Everyone who has that narrative, it's like most of them.
Did he throw one this week?
No, he was perfect.
Yeah.
But most of his mistakes throughout the year, it was like, okay, that was basically just a punt, and it wasn't at a key moment in the game. So the numbers are very much inflated. And then no one talks about how he had 8 more touchdowns than everybody else. The next closest guy had 8 less touchdowns than him. So the dude is he's balling out, and he's got no real weapons. Diggs looks older, and he can't get separation.
I feel older. I just had a body pillow show up in my house to deliver. A $300 pillow. That's what I require to sleep now.
Yeah.
I
Why
have
is it 300?
$300.
Yeah, but why?
Oh,
What's so special about a pillow?
well, it's an acid reflux pillow. It elevates my torso so that I'm higher on the top. It's got a body pillow that goes down between my legs, and it's basically a nest. I ordered myself a cocoon because I require, as I get older now, at least 10 pillows to fall asleep. I need 2 head pillows, a knee pillow, one for the front, one for the back. So this is basically it's like my own bed inside of my bed. It's embarrassing. Between that and my mouth guard, it's really ugly. I'm going downhill. Yeah. Like, my wife no longer is concerned with me sleeping with anyone else. That ship has sailed. There is no ever worry about, oh, I got to hold on to my man. I am barely surviving. Like, I'm having trouble making it through sleep. Like, I'm not good at, like, I don't know what the next 40 years of my life are going to look like.
Speaking of,
Work out.
Lucas and I ran into Ryan O'Neal, and he shared a fun story about you sleeping in Austin.
With pictures.
And something happened in your bed.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to share what happened and what led up to that.
I had eaten barbecue at Terry Black's, such a delicious barbecue place. And Matt Edgar was insistent upon trying to wait until the pit master came in because he's a huge comedy fan. But the pit master wasn't coming in until 3:00. So our shows were at 7 and like 9:30. I'm like, that's a little close to the show time. We're gonna, like, barbecue something you need to recover from. So we went a little earlier, but we didn't go early enough. So we went around like 1:32. I ate the barbecue. It was delicious. Had that shame nap after. Did the 2 shows. Had a lot of like booze and like, like cold medicine because I wasn't feeling great. Got into bed and then just kind of like, like, oh man, like everything was just kind of built up in my system a little bit. Get a little fart out and then squirty squirt. A little extra special surprise came out. And that was low. That was a real low because now it's like you got to get out of bed and you're like, shit. Oh,
Literally.
what do I do? Yep. And I took a shower, cleaned up the bed, and then slept in the comforter, rolled up like a taco on one side of the bed. So, yeah, I mean, whether it's, like I said, I have acid reflux, and sometimes it comes out the mouth, and sometimes it comes out the anus.
It's probably not nice to tease you about that. That's a disability, and you're struggling, and you're trying to
I know,
survive.
but I sent the picture to O'Neal to show him.
He showed us.
It looks like you got Amber Hearded.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
it looks like the same photo.
At least it was just in one little area, and it wasn't.
No, it was in 2. If you look at it, it's in 2 specific. Because I didn't
try to study it.
Well, I sleep nude, and I guess I'm arrogant. I thought I knew my body better than I did, and that's and I'm happy because I rolled everything up, and I told the lady the next day. I said there was an accident. That's all I was. But like, I almost put the robe on.
Did you give her a tip?
Yes.
Okay, thank God.
Thank God.
You just tell them to burn the sheets. Like, here, I'm going to pay for the sheets.
I said, here's the tip. Don't look in the sheets.
Burn them.
Beauty in them.
Yeah, just throw them right out. Here's the money for that, and please don't make the next person sleep in this bed.
I can't wait to. Well, it's a great.
Why don't you share what the hotel is, so then anyone who's listening that's staying there this weekend.
I will not.
What room were you in, Steve?
None of your business. It was the none of your business suite. It's a beautiful hotel, though, and it did not deserve what I did to it at all. But yeah, shout out to Terry Black's. Shout out to Ryan O'Neal.
Good plug for the restaurant.
Yep. And by the way, Ryan O'Neal and I will be together again in a week and a half. Well, not even a week and a half, in a week in Denver next weekend. I'll be in Denver, Colorado at the Comedy Works downtown. 1 show Thursday, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. Tickets are SteveRenazizi.com. They're up on sale. There's a couple. I think one of the shows are sold out, so get them on them now. But also, Ryan O'Neal will be with me there as well. So, and I hope I will not shit the bed because they put us in that lovely condo. It's beautiful, and there's no one to come clean it. I mean, there's a cleaning service that comes after we're done, but I am not doing that. I want to be one of my favorite clubs ever. So,
You'll be on
I
your
won't
best
even risk it.
behavior.
Yes. Yeah,
Just wear a diaper.
I will. I'm going to double layer it. Anyway, Jesus, I wish Ryan. I mean, is nothing sacred.
Don't send him the photo because now he's going to show everyone.
Dude, I'm gonna win this fucking bet. I'm telling you right now. So, by the way, in case you're interested, $50 on my bet wins you $642.87.
And that was Baltimore covering, Green Bay.
Baltimore covering, Green Bay covering the 9.5, the Lions covering the 6.5, and the Bills covering the 2.5.
That's not bad.
That's exactly how I'd gamble this weekend too, Steve. Those are my 4 picks, man.
My straight up winners, I would go Baltimore, San Francisco, Detroit, and I'm going to go with my heart, even though my mind tells me no, and I'm going to go Buffalo to win.
You're talking about money line.
I'm talking about money line, yeah.
Money line, okay.
That's straight up what I would take. I think Baltimore and San Francisco were too good, and the other two teams are just happy to be there. I think the Buccaneers are not as good as we think they are. I think they ran into a team that is just having a historical meltdown, and so they looked a lot better than they are. The Eagles, they're just, I don't know. You need to study them and figure out what the fuck happened, and maybe it's Sirianni. Something happened. Something major is going on that we don't know about, and I think Jalen Hurts he's already announced he's getting a surgery done because he didn't look right for most of the year. But something happened, and Tampa Bay is not a division round playoff caliber team. So I think Detroit's going to be able to move on. And then the only game that's going to be really competitive and close is going to be KC and Buffalo.
Yeah, that's going to be a great game. But you're nervous, dude. I've never seen you like this.
I'm very, very nervous. It's a lot of injuries. And I said it at the start of the playoffs. The team that's going to win the Super Bowl is going to be the healthiest team. And Buffalo right now is looking like they're the least healthy team left.
I like this pessimism from Brenton, though. As a fan, I like this. I think it bodes well going in.
If you were to survive this week, are those injuries people that can come back in a week to play? Will probably be a road game against Baltimore.
I think so, yes.
So it's not like you're like, hey, we got to get through fucking 3 games, possibly, without any of these guys.
Well, if we get through 3 games, we're Super Bowl champions.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying it's going to be.
It's probably a 1 week. And Russell Douglas, he said he was good to play last week, and they held him out because they didn't think they rolled the dice and they didn't think they would need him against Pittsburgh. So he should be good to go, and that's big. But we need another career game from AJ Klein. And that's going to be tough because now you're saying, hey, AJ, go cover Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we'll see. It's going to come down to Josh and Diggs and Kincaid and Shakir stepping up and Hardy stepping up. And Hardy looked good last week. That's a guy that he's the one who returned the punt against Miami, and he hadn't played much all year, but because of injuries, now we're seeing more of him, and he's got a lot of speed. So he doesn't have a lot of size, but he's got a lot of speed, and maybe he's a guy that can come in and make a couple of plays. And we just got to hope that the Chiefs wide receivers keep dropping passes.
That's another thing. You could have a whole they could not show up. That whole core could not show up. Kelce had a couple drops last week.
Mm-hmm.
1 or 2 that I saw. That were
Rashee Rice looks good, and their whole offense is going to be, can Pacheco run on Buffalo? And if Pacheco can run on Buffalo, then they'll be able to control the clock, and they'll probably win by 2 scores. But if we can get them to make some mistakes and the guys drop some passes and Josh Allen plays perfectly, then we're going to win by a field goal. It'll come down to do we have the ball last, and are we facing the right side of the field where the wind isn't going to fuck up the kick? Because that's another thing.
What is the weather like this weekend there?
Weather shouldn't be an issue.
Bad. Yeah.
Good.
It shouldn't be an issue, but the wind is always swirling, and it makes one direction of driving down the field more difficult than the other. And Tyler Bass has been missing kicks. That 27-yarder last week, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
So
that was is Kadarius Toney playing?
He's still questionable.
Okay.
He hasn't.
I hope he does.
Yeah.
I really hope he does. If he doesn't, I'll worry about the Bills.
That's like 3 or 4 plays that you will just suck away from a guy who can actually catch the ball. So that's good. You know? Damn, dude. That guy's like, who's going to sign him after this year? Kadarius Toney.
It's crazy because
Good luck
last
getting
year
the fucking job.
he had the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And speaking of champions, we didn't do it last week, but we got to give a shout out to Jordan Ponce, who won the league. So congrats, Jordan. And message me
gotta get an address.
message your address so we can send you the trophy, which that's not Steve's actual poop on top of it.
Yeah.
That's not from the hotel.
That's not what it looked like. Mine was much more diarrhea-ish.
Yes.
This is way more solid. Also, we gotta get a new plate, so I gotta get that.
Yeah, so send us your address and congrats. You kicked the shit out of all of us, especially Lucas, who put together one of the worst teams in the history of fantasy football.
That was pretty.
Kudos to him.
Hey, I thought Joe Burrow would have a great year.
Everyone did.
Yeah.
Everybody did, bro. Don't blame yourself.
Yeah, but you built that team on a house of cards, and
Yeah.
yikes.
Well,
Go ahead.
oh, nothing. I just want to say Sunday's my birthday, and my favorite team will not let me down. If they did, what kind of favorite team are they?
Well, are you new here?
I know.
Because I really, truly in my heart, I think Josh can get the monkey off his back and he can lead this team over Kansas City, but it is asking a lot from him. And we need to see somebody on this defense that has been good but not great step up. And I don't know if we have enough there. So it's going to be a shootout. And I don't like shootouts against Kansas City.
I am currently in the mix of a $250 double up fantasy in golf this week. They're in right out by you guys in Palm Desert in La Quinta, out in the desert out there. I've got Xander Schauffele, who is -8, JT Poston, Chris Kirk, Eric Van Rooyen, Christian Bezuidenhout, and Harrison Endicott. Now, I am currently in 3rd place out of like 180 teams, top 90, double it up. So
you should be fine.
So far, so good. So far, so good.
By the
Looks
way,
like everyone should make the cut.
5 of those names I just heard for the first time.
Yeah.
Christian Bezuidenhout.
Sounds made up.
Eric Van Rooyen. You've heard of Xander Schauffele, right?
Yes, that's the one.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah, the rest of them, you just got to know golf, guys, and I do. So,
well, I'm happy that you're playing double ups and you're making money now instead of just
single entry double ups.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's how you do it, guys. If you want to win money on DraftKings and you're sick of losing, stop playing 150 because there are too many people that enter 150 lineups and use an algorithm to create every possibility, and you will not beat them consistently. But you will beat them consistently if you're doing single entry and you're doing double ups and you have a 50-50 chance of winning. And if you know what you're doing, like Steve does with golf, like I do with football, I went 11-7 this year in double ups and I made good money. So there's good money to be won and you don't have to sweat it out. You don't have to really compete that much.
Yeah, no, I like it so far. I mean, the season just started, so this is the time to get out in front. Also, if anyone's around on Sunday night and you have nothing to do in North Carolina area, I will be at the Peachtree Mountain Resort with my good buddy Court McCowan doing one show. It's a ski town, like probably 2 hours outside of Charlotte, and they're doing a music festival, comedy festival, and I'm coming in on Sunday night to do a show. 8:00 at the Beach Mountain Resort in Beach Mountain, North Carolina. And then obviously next week in Denver, Colorado, at the Comedy Works South. Super Bowl weekend, I'll be at Magooby's in Baltimore, Maryland. And 2 weekends after that, I'll be in La Jolla.
So you got to hope that, are you doing a Sunday show Super Bowl weekend?
No. Who does a show against the Super Bowl? What am I fucking nuts?
Because Baltimore is probably going to be in it. So
yeah. Oh, gee, Baltimore. In case you don't want to watch your fucking team in the Super Bowl.
What time is kickoff? 4:30. We're doing a matinee show.
Yeah, what are you, an idiot? Yeah, so that's where I'll be the next couple weeks. You guys have any dates you want to plug at all?
I'm at the Ice House tonight, and I'm at the Levity Live in Oxnard tomorrow with Jay Muse from Jay and Silent Bob. There might
Oh,
still
yeah.
be tickets left.
Yes. I'm at the store tomorrow, and then next Wednesday I'm with Brenton and Hormos at the La Jolla Comedy Store for a Wednesday night show on the 24th. And I'll also be at Magoobies with Adam Ray, I think, in a few months.
Nice.
Good old Magoobies.
The old Magoobs. Do you guys have anything else you want to bring up, talk about?
Have you seen this Vegas law that got passed?
What is it?
Oh, the standing and stopping on the bridge?
Yes. So
yeah,
now
this is good information that I think most people won't know about.
Okay.
So certain parts of the Vegas Strip now, you have to keep moving. You can't stop and just block up foot traffic. Otherwise, you can be fined, face up to 6 months in jail, or $1,000 fine.
Yeah, so any of those bridges over the strip, those pedestrian walkways, you cannot stop and take photos. You have to keep moving, and if you get caught, stop there, you're going to get a ticket and possibly arrested.
So they're going to have cops on the bridges making sure people are continuously moving.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, but that also means you're not going to have people selling you bottles of water, and you're not going to have people just sitting there. So it cleans everything up a bit.
Was this a big problem?
I think it was becoming a problem. Yeah. And people were taking photos like now that you have that little, what's the sphere called?
Sphere.
Oh, yeah.
So you have people just stopping and like recording everything that's being broadcasted, and it just jams everything up.
I think we need that law in New York, LA.
That'd be great.
Any city.
Yeah, no more stopping.
Times Square.
Keep it moving.
Yeah. Do not stop and enjoy life.
Can we add anyone that those walkways, the fat people movers in airports?
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to walk on those. Those are to walk extra fast, not to stand on.
Yeah.
Well, in fairness, I think when they kind of started putting them in, everybody wasn't as fat, and there were kind of 2 lanes, and now people have gotten wider. So
I can't get around the fatty.
You had a walk bag and a stand, and now it's just, you get the wrong person.
And so you want to walk slowly, you just go to the side. Those are express lanes. I don't look at them like these are the carpool lane. This is an express lane. So yeah, I get it, Vegas. Keep the fucking fatties moving. Nobody wants walls of blubber in front of them. I like this. When's it going up for a vote? Tomorrow?
I think it's a lot.
It's a law.
It's a new county ordinance. Took effect January 16th.
Perfect. Let us know if you get a ticket for being a fucking human wall in Vegas. Anything else? No.
I mean, Bill O'Brien has taken the Ohio State offensive coordinator position.
Yeah.
Good luck. He's not making roster decisions.
Yeah, he can run an offense, no problem. It looks like they want something different in Ohio State. It's a couple years. Who's gonna take over Michigan after Harbaugh leaves? That's gonna be another question. I don't know who goes and takes over that team, but all right. Well, that's it for the week, guys. I told you we're gonna make some cash this week. I'll let you know if I cash out on any of these things early.
Yeah, let people know, because that would have been.
I mean,
good information.
Like these games start. Like I by the time I looked at my phone, I cashed out. And
Yeah. But let people know, because I'm sure somebody tailed you, and now they're hearing about how you still made $150.
Well,
they're like, what the fuck?
Make your own decision. Look at the phone yourself. If that's enough for you,
Steve,
cash the fuck out.
If
I'm
they're
not gonna tell you how to live your life.
If there are human beings that are actually listening to us for information, do you think they're making their own decisions?
You can lead the horse to water, dude. I can't slurp the water into their fucking mouths, bro. You got to do what's best for you and your family.
Our listeners need you to slurp the water in their mouth.
No, you do what's best for you. I'll tell you where to go, what direction. You guys make your own choices. I don't want to be responsible for these fucking for everyone. That's a lot of pressure on me. All right, that's it, guys. We got a big weekend ahead of us, so buckle up and we're gonna win. We're gonna win some cash.
Yes.
And when we do, we will see you next week to gloat about it. That's it. We'll talk to you next week.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Thank you very much for joining me. How you been? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Steve Renazizi. I'm the guy